Prusa launches the Poopless Index Kit, while others are printing upside down, plus careers in 3D printing concrete. Hi, I'm STL Denise, and this is all the news that's fit to 3D print. But first, everyone is going crazy about spectrum. A couple weeks ago, I reported on full spectrum painting, a revolutionary technique that lets you blend ultra-thin layers of basic colors to create a whole rainbow. The method was developed by RatDo on an open-source Orca slicer and used the SnapMaker U1 tool changer. Now, using a tool changer is important here because you need super thin layers to pull off the optical illusion of mixing all these colors. For example, this Chep cube has 346 layers and 195 color swaps. Now, only 3 of these bands have mixed colors in them. I was able to run this on my H2C because Bamboo Lab rushed to add this color mixing feature to Bamboo Slicer. There was a bit of a dust up with them not initially giving credit to RatDo, but I think that's been settled now. If you're interested in trying it out, I'm going to warn you that it's really too wasteful to do this on an ordinary AMS machine. My H2C only needed 3.5 hours and an 18-gram purge tower to print this 3.5-gram cube. But if I ran this on my single nozzle P2S, it would take nearly 7 hours and over 100 grams of filament purged. Now, Prusa's most recent blog said that they've added spectrum to the online Easy Print slicer for their Core 1 with an index. But we can't test this out for ourselves until we get an index here. Hopefully they'll add it to the XL and the MMU3 so that more people can play with it. If you don't want to wait, there's a printer agnostic app called Prime 3D, which is totally free. This app lets you play with the spectrum color mixing, then generates a 3MF file that you can drop into your slicer of choice, which might be easier if you've got any other machine. Keep an eye on Prime 3D. The developer, Josh at 3D Revolution, is working on adding photos to the mix. It's a little janky right now, but give it some time and this could be really fun. The Rocky Mountain Riprap was last week, and there was a lot of really cool stuff going on, like my battle tops. Now the files are linked below if you want to play along too. Rick and I brought our death racers to the event, and Rick did really good with his new kit car, complete with a little David Hasselhoff driver. This car needed some special scanner lights to really bring it to life, which brings me to our sponsor, PCBWay. Rick was able to hop onto PCBWay's website and search through the community shared projects to find exactly what we needed. After a quick search, he found some chaser lights that were just perfect. The project has everything laid out for you, so if you're new to designing electronics, it's really easy. The board was only a few bucks, and PCBWay will even put it together for you for a reasonable fee. PCBWay is more than just electronics. If you're working on a custom RC build like this, you can also use them for CNC machining, 3D printing in exotic materials, or even sheet metal fabrication for custom parts. They've really become a one-stop shop for getting your physical prototypes made quickly and affordably. Head over to PCBWay.com and get a quote on your next project. Thanks, PCBWay. Now, back to RMRRF, where I caught up with Team Prusa and that new index tool changer. They had a demo unit running on a Prusa Core 1 Plus. They've opened up orders just a few days ago, so if you're interested in getting one, now's your chance. This is going to make a lot of Prusa fans very happy, especially since they made a last-minute change to that front plate, which isn't blocking the view anymore. Now, I haven't reviewed this machine yet, but I am on the list, and I'll keep you posted on what I think about it. I also saw a prototype for the Muon 3D, which looks really cool. It's basically a commercial version of that do-it-yourself Positron, a portable printer small enough to fit in a filament box. Now, if you thought that machine was really cool, but you didn't have the chops for it or for the time to build one yourself, the Muon might just be the ticket. They're going to be launching on Kickstarter soon. But in the meantime, if you want to see it in action, Joe Telling sat down with one of their designers last month, and he's got a really good video about it. While I was in Colorado this week, I found a perfect example of why 3D printing isn't just about shiny plastic dragons. It's about jobs. I took a little road trip down to Alquist 3D and checked out their A1X concrete printer. Now, Alquist is doing something pretty exciting. They're working with a local community college to train the next generation of construction workers who can use 3D printing robots to build affordable housing and commercial buildings. They just sold a dozen of these supersized concrete printers, which are going to be deployed by general contractors around the country. They told me all about their latest gig working with Walmart to print additions onto their retail stores. Now, right now, 3D printing concrete is priced about the same as building with cinder block, but it can be done with a smaller team of skilled workers, a lot faster, with a lot less wasted materials. This is huge for the construction industry right now, which is struggling to find people who want to get into the trades. Earth Day was this week, and American Filament celebrated by launching a new sustainable PLA formula called Regenerative PLA Plus. It's using a technology developed by Worry-Free Plastics that adds powdered enzyme to the PLA, which is supposed to attract hungry microorganisms to the plastic, who will then gobble it up and turn it back into organic compounds in a matter of years, not centuries. Now, everyone loves to say that PLA is very natural and that it comes from corn. But the truth is, once those corn sugars are turned into polylactic acid, it's really hard to go back. American Filament's regenerative PLA is supposed to be just as strong and stable as normal PLA, but it should break down much faster if it's ever tossed out in the environment as garbage in a landfill or worse, litter out in nature. Worry-Free Plastic has a whole page on the science behind their claims, and I'll link to that down below. Right now, we need to take their word for it because any testing your humble YouTuber can do is going to take a good 5 to 7 years. Now, that's exactly what JJ Senkels is doing because he talked to American Filament and stuck a benchy out in his backyard. You can check out his video next, after this one. If you're interested in biodegradable filament, I think you should also check out Polar Filament's PHA, which is a biopolymer made from bacteria. Now, that sounds a lot grosser than it really is. Basically, it biodegrades like wood, so it's great indoors, but it'll start to break down if it's left out in nature because microorganisms and fungi are going to start snacking on it. This stuff can start breaking down in weeks, given the right conditions and healthy soil. If you want to try it out, make sure you read the directions first. It does not work like PLA, so you're going to need an unheated bed, a bit of tape, and a bit of time to let it cool properly. Color palette on Polar's filament is a little bit muted, but that's because they're being very careful to not add anything crazy to it that's going to disrupt the formula. The guys at Polar take their filament very seriously. And finally, I wanted to thank David Tobin for taking a stand against California's AB 2047, a bill that's trying to ban 3D printers right along with the ghost guns that they're actually going after. As you know, David is the 3D Printing Nerd's producer, but he's also the executive director of the Community Manufacturing Initiative, which is working to bring 3D printing and STEM skills to schools. They're trying to bridge that gap between makers, manufacturers, and robotics, and they're teaching real modern-day job skills to kids by giving them access to 3D printers. David and a bunch of his friends went to Sacramento to talk to lawmakers and try to convince them to not make our printers illegal just because bad guys do bad things with good technology. He also gave a talk at RMRRRF, which is available online on the link down below. He has a handout that you can access that's located on Joel's video about the cause. I recommend that you go read it because it will really help you understand the problems we're facing with these bills that are not only being pushed in California, but in Colorado, Washington, and New York. David's unearthed some very interesting stats about the lobbyists pushing these anti-3D printing bills. They have very deep pockets, and it's likely they're going to start moving to more and more states to get what they want. Now, if you have some awesome 3D printing news or a really cool project that you think I should share on this channel, or if you have a product you want me to test, then drop me a line. You can message me on X, Instagram, or Threads. That's the news for this week. I'm STL Denise, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy printing!